In his first ever NHL game, Habs defenseman prospect Jayden Struble shows out as he performs as one of the best game scorers on the team for their win versus Anaheim, and he could be poised to take a permanent position on the NHL roster. I'll be diving into that, plus a little bit of a recap of the Habs Ducks games, but first, we got to talk a bit about the Habs prospect pool and how they were majorly disrespected by Craig Button and Chris Peters, so you want to stick around for all of that on this episode of Habs Digest. The first thing we want to get into is this, look, we know the Habs prospect pool, sometimes it's rated really highly, sometimes it's rated really lowly, but in a recent post, Craig Button and Chris Peters teamed up to rank every team's core four, and for players 23 years and younger. So I'll show you a little thing here. Button and Flow Sports senior NHL draft prospects and analyst Chris Peters says every team's assets 23 or younger, evaluating current development and projecting future potential. Players are graded AAA for a superstar, AA for elite, A for starting goalie, or top pair defenseman first line forward, as in the best, or at least top line at your position. B is if you're a tandem goalie, top 4 D-man or top 6 forward, and we're not going to worry about C because that doesn't show up. So where does Montreal rank? Where do you think Montreal ranked? It was 10th. The only player that they said in the entire Habs prospect pool, the entire Habs organization that's 23 or younger, the only one that they said projects to be a top line or top pairing player is Cole Caufield. And they had him as elite, which I think that's fair. On the same tier of someone like Erasmus Dahlin, Owen Power. That's Buffalo was ranked number 1, by the way. But no one else. Guhle, Slafkovsky, Reinbacher, Hutson, Kirby, Dach. All these guys are ranked B, saying basically, they seem to project as like Reinbacher top 4 defenseman, and Guhle top 4 defenseman, and Kirby, Dach top 6 player. In a vacuum, you can maybe say, okay, well, maybe if they graded other players in similar ways, it could make sense. Maybe they take the hard road. Well, no, I have a list over here, and I'm just going to give you some other names that were ranked much higher than these Habs prospects. So we'll start with Matt Coronato. Matt Coronato is 21. He has not even played a single NHL game, yet he is ranked A. That's a bit weird. Oliver Moore, Cutter Gauthier, David Juracek, Jagger Furcus, Edouard Chalet, Matthew Nyes of the Toronto Maple Leafs. All these guys are A. They're all above every single one of these players on this list, not named Cole Caufield. All these guys I just mentioned are projected to be first line or top pairing guys. And there's another one. I saw some other, I'm just looking through a list here. For example, Jake Sanderson. Sanderson and Kaiden Guhle have shockingly similar statistical profiles when you look at scoring, and we know that they're both very similar on D. They're very, very similar players overall. Jake Sanderson just got that big extension with Ottawa, and we're saying Guhle might get something similar based on their level of production. And well, what is Jake Sanderson ranked? Oh, AA, right? He's the same as Caufield. He's elite, but Kaiden Guhle's a B. Right? There's just so many inconsistencies throughout this list. And look, while I don't want to take this whole video and just say, oh, this list bad, this list so bad, it really is. And I know it's meant to stir up some clicks, stir up some feelings. But Joakim Kemmel is an A, Matty Nyes A, Hutson being B. Hutson, according to Xhekaj on Reddit here, I'm looking over here. Lane Hutson, okay, he has more points than any other NCAA player on this entire list that is ranked an A. And Hutson is a B. There's just so many inconsistencies, so much disrespect for the Habs organization. The fact that no one here is ranked at least, if all these other guys were B, maybe. But the fact that none of these guys are ranked above any of the guys I just mentioned, and many more I didn't even mention that are ranked A or higher, it's kind of just asinine to me. I just don't understand these rankings at all, and I could go on all day about my case for each one of these Habs individual. I think Guhle is absolutely an A. I think you have to keep, I understand Slav's production has not been there, but I think you have to keep him an A at this point. And Lane Hutson, he, to me, I know he's never played an NHL game, but he is doing better in the NCAA as a defenseman than any of these other forwards. So it's I don't know what the deal is with it, but go have a look for yourself, have a look through. Let us know in the comments what you think of this list. Am I crazy? Am I really overselling the Habs prospects? I'm not saying all these guys should be A. I'm just saying there's a lot of inconsistency, and some of them should be ranked much higher than they already are. But let's dive into the game, and there's one guy I want to focus on. Look, I know Alex Newhook had an amazing game, and we'll talk about him, but this in particular is huge for their future, and that's Jayden Struble. Huge in multiple ways. This guy is, he's a big body, he's physical, but he can skate like crazy. And he was asked about it. He said, quote, "That was awesome. Just a very cool experience all around." And his family was there as well. And a cherry on top to get the win. It's a little intimidating, but once you're on the ice, it's just a game. I thought I did good. Tried to keep it simple, make the right play. Jayden Struble on his first career NHL game. And as Montreal comes out with the win, should have maybe been 5-3, not 4-3. That goal went in the empty net like just after the buzzer. But of course, Alex Newhook putting up a couple goals. But Jayden Struble played phenomenally in this game. And let's just show the game scorecard. Of course, Alex Newhook played really, really, really well. Suzuki scored really well as well. Newhook has just been awesome. That's crazy. That first line, Newhook, Suzuki, Gallagher. Hey, it seemed to work last night. And Jake Evans actually had a really good game. Of course, that beautiful assist to Kaiden Guhle on that goal. A lot of great stuff going on here. Matheson as well with the goal. Slav playing good. But look at Jayden Struble. Do you see any Habs defensemen above him on this list? No, you don't. That's because Jayden Struble by game score was the Habs' best defenseman last night. And other than Gustav Lindstrom, he posted the team's highest defensive game score. Jayden Struble looked like he didn't miss a beat. We said a lot of things similar to this when we talked about Kaiden Guhle when he first came up. And I'm not necessarily comparing the two because they have very different games. And obviously they're different levels of prospect. Jayden Struble does not bring nearly as much offensively as Guhle does. But defensively, that's where Struble shines. He was not afraid to be physical. He came into the NHL. He's wearing his neck guard, right? He came in and he clearly took it seriously. He said he was a bit nervous, but like you watched him play and you're like, well, he outplayed Kovacevic, I thought, for sure. And he outplayed anything we've seen from Harris this year. Xhekaj is a bit of a different case because we know his physicality brings a different element to the game, but right away, Jayden Struble. I keep mixing up Jordan Harris and Jayden Struble because I keep comparing them, went to the same college. Apologies. Jayden Struble. This guy came in and he just looked phenomenal from the moment he stepped on the ice. And the thing I was most impressed about, and I know a lot of Habs fans are also impressed about this. We were impressed about this from the first time we saw him, is his skating. He's so smooth, like for his size and for the style of play. He does sort of a lockdown, shutdown defenseman with a physical edge. He's like glides around the ice. He's super smooth on his feet. So it was really, really impressive to watch Jayden Struble. I'm actually very excited to see him play some more games. And I'm sure Mattias Norlinder is going to get a game either against the Sharks or the Kings one of the next couple days, Friday, Saturday. So we might see Struble pulled from the game for that one. But yeah, regardless, I really want to see what else he has in store, because if Jayden Struble can prove that he is like a bottom two pairing, bottom four defenseman, like second, third pairing, and like maybe a consistent penalty kill guy in the future, it'd be great, because a lot of Habs fans kind of like, we talk about him. We talk about so many defensive prospects. But when these guys come up to the NHL and from day one, you're like, oh, wow, he looks like a natural. That he could impact this team right now. That's usually a very, very good sign. So I'm very, very excited for Struble's future. But there are other guys we got to talk about. That game was amazing, right? I want to take just the last couple minutes of this video to talk a bit about Alex Newhook. Look, there's a lot of stuff I could talk about this game. Josh Anderson, I'm just like, Josh, you gotta do something. Yeah, anyway, I hate that. Like, since Monahan and Anderson have been playing together, both of their game scores have been in the tank. Monahan hasn't scored a point in a little while, or at least he's on a bit of a drought. But Alex Newhook, he's really starting to get his scoring touch back. Of course, he had those 3 goals in the first few games of the season, and then he went on a big drought, and then he started scoring goals again with 2 goals last night, one being an absolute snipe, and the second one being a phenomenal game winner on the rush. And man, like everything from Alex Newhook. I think I might have said Jake Evans passed to Guhle earlier, but I think it was to Newhook. I'm actually forgetting who assisted each of those goals because they were very, very similar. So apologies if I got one wrong. But regardless, Alex Newhook with that game-winning goal, John Gibson really out of position. I'm not really sure what he was doing, but it doesn't matter as Newhook pots it. And you just saw from the celebration how much it meant not only to him, but to this team to win this game. As Arpen Basu said in his article in The Athletic, this was more than just beating Anaheim in a regular season game. You had a bunch of losses in a row. You're going into this West Coast road trip, American Thanksgiving. You need to do something. And this win against Anaheim was a character win. It should have maybe not been as close, as not tight of finish as they would have, as they wanted, right? It was maybe a bit too close. But at the end of the day, they got it done. And Newhook was the epitome of that. That beautiful snipe. Like, his shot has looked extremely good. I know Colorado fans were saying like he always had a good shot, just couldn't necessarily always put it together. We've really seen it these past few games. He's just firing the puck a lot more confidently than I think we've ever seen, and it's paying off right away. He had an open pass. Gallagher was on the doorstep there, I believe, right? He was open right next to John Gibson, but Newhook's like, nah, I'm gonna snipe it anyway, top shelf over Gibson. So he's been really good. That first line last night worked wonders. It was really interesting. We know we have maybe our criticism sometimes, not criticisms, but comments on, mixing up the lines every game, not having consistent line mates, because for a successful team long term, you want to have guys who are familiar with each other, but at the same time, it worked last night, and I'm really excited to see how all these guys fare in the future. There's just a lot of exciting things going on for the Habs right now. So many great things. Monty as well. I got to talk about him right before we end the video. Monty, I said in the video yesterday, I don't want him to be traded. Do I see him as a long-term number 1A? Maybe not, but like every game he's in the pipes now, I just feel comfortable. Like I feel really comfy with Monty and net. Is he always going to have a 5-star performance? No, but he's really, really good. That glove save, like I'm surprised that didn't get more traction today. That insane robbery glove save. You know, if it was a Leafs goalie, if that was Joseph Wall making that save, that would have been front page of the news, 5,000 upvotes on Reddit kind of thing. But no, Monty, underrated, and I kind of like it that way. He's really, really, really good. So shout out to him. Shout out to the whole team. While there were some negatives for sure, I don't like talking about those. They beat Anaheim. Stick with the positive vibes, guys. Newhook playing well, Struble impressing. Really, really fun. And let's just hope that they can continue this momentum in their next couple afternoon games versus San Jose and LA. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. The same outro as always. I should maybe switch it up sometimes. I don't know. You guys like it? If you do, I'm going to stick with it. It's always good to remind you. I'm your host, Josh Gosse. I'll catch you in the next one.